friends, my name is Chloe Taylor and I'm the creator of Cozy Kale, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you how I make this very authentic Italian spaghetti sauce, but we've served it over a little bit of a different noodle here. It's super cheap, super easy to make. It is a little time consuming, but it's mostly just waiting for things to meld together, not you actually doing things. So if you want to see how this is made, please stick around. So for the ingredients, you are going to want some chopped carrots. I blend my sauce when it's all done, so I don't really worry about any uniform chunks of anything or anything being too big. If you do not have a blender, you really want to take your time with this part and mince everything like really fine. Like I said, I blend mine, so I don't really have to do that. I can leave stuff like kind of bigger than it would be. So I'm also chopping up 3 stalks of celery. The recipe information will be down below if you guys want this as well. So I'm just chopping up those 3 stalks, 1/2 of an onion. I believe this is a yellow sweet onion. I'm just giving that just I wouldn't say it's like a rough chop, but it's definitely not fine. And I'm putting all those together in a bowl, and now I'm peeling some garlic. You can do anywhere from 2 to 5 cloves. I love garlic, so we actually did 5 in this recipe, and my garlic was super fresh. You can actually tell, pro tip, if your garlic is fresh, it will be very sticky. So this was very fresh. It was really hard to peel. That's why the footage is so sped up, because this actually took forever. But I'm just mincing that up. I would not leave this whole, even if you're blending it. You really want this to cook with everything, so definitely give this a mince. Like, take this part a little bit more seriously. And then some other ingredients you'll need is a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, some soy sauce. I use low sodium. You're also going to want some kind of bouillon. This is what I use because it is vegan friendly. It's like a not chicken base, but it is vegan. This is very important. If you substitute any of the other ingredients, that's fine, but this you need for this sauce. It is these specific tomatoes. They are the Cento San Marzano. They are the best. They are very high quality peeled tomatoes, and you want to use canned, not fresh. And the reason for that is because these actually are always going to be at their peak when they are canned. You don't have to worry about getting a tomato that is overripe or underripe for what you need it for. Canned tomatoes actually are really important for this recipe. You just need 1 28-ounce can, and that should do it. For seasonings, you can really use whatever you want here. I had thyme and parsley on hand, so that's what I'm using. And yeah, just some thyme, some ground parsley, or parsley flakes, excuse me. And this is optional. You don't have to use it, but I'm also using some umami just because I really like the flavor of it. You definitely don't have to do it though. Now let's get on to the cooking. So in a large pan on your stove, you are going to want to put in your tablespoon of olive oil. You don't have to measure it. I've just been kind of tracking what I'm eating lately, so I've been very particular about it. And then you're going to add in the onion, celery, and carrot mixture into this pan. Now, this is the part that takes the longest of you like being on your feet. This really is a labor of love, but you're actually going to stir this around on medium-high heat for 20 to 30 minutes, pretty consistently, until it looks like this. And the reason for that is because it makes the sauce very sweet without having to add any sugar. So then you're going to add your garlic in and stir that around, maybe just for like a minute or so. You don't want this to burn, so definitely like don't put that in until you're ready to like really start moving and putting all the rest of the stuff together. Then you're going to add in your seasonings. Again, I used parsley, thyme, and umami. I don't have specific like how much. I'll try to like guesstimate it down below. And then you're going to also want to put soy sauce down. If you use soy sauce, just try not to use too much because salt can really impact how this recipe comes together. The reason I even use the soy sauce is because of the fermented flavor, because traditional spaghetti sauce usually is made with Parmesan rinds, and that has like a fermented flavor to it. And obviously we're not going to cook with Parmesan. This is a vegan sauce. So that's why you use the soy sauce for this. It's delicious. Then you're going to want to go ahead and throw in those tomatoes, and then take that can and fill it up with halfway, basically half of the can, with water. And that just kind of helps get out the extra sauce that's left behind. and it's also the water that you need for the sauce. So just a little clever way of doing that. You're just gonna kind of stir everything together until it looks nice and combined. And then you're going to bring in your bouillon, about a teaspoon if you're using this, or just 1 cube if you're using like cubed bouillon. You're just gonna get that down in there and then stir it together until it is well dissolved and incorporated. And then you are going to want to actually, apparently I couldn't get it off the spoon. Then you're just going to want to bring this up to a boil. And then once it's boiling like this, you are going to put a lid over it and leave it alone for 1 hour. Just leave it alone, walk away, set a timer. Come back to it in an hour and this is what you're gonna find. And then you're gonna take the back of the spoon that you were using to like stir everything, and you're gonna kind of crush up the tomatoes. Now, again, if you're blending the sauce, it's not really that important that you do this super religiously, but if you don't have a blender and you're doing this without that, you really wanna take your time in crushing these up. And everything shouldn't look as chunky as mine looks. If you've actually taken the time to mince everything, you won't need to blend, but because that's how I like to do it, everything looks really chunky in mine. That's not traditional. The flavor of the sauce will be very traditional, trust me, but it's not very traditional to like not mince a lot of the ingredients. But then you're gonna lid it again, bring it back up to a boil, and again, a timer for 1 more hour. So 2 hours now. And when you come back to it, this is what it will look like if you're blending it. If you're not blending it, it's gonna look a lot thinner. It will be ready right from this point. But if you're blending it, this is the point where you would turn off the heat and actually put it into a blender. So that's what I'm doing. I didn't actually get a shot of the blender, but I did get a couple shots of the sauce once it comes out of the blender. So you guys will at least get to see what it looks like. So I like to blend it because I just feel like it gives a very consistent texture throughout. And look at like how beautiful this is. No meat required, none of that nonsense. It's so good. You could also add a little bit of wine to this instead of doing like soy sauce, or use both. That would probably be really good and let it like cook with everything. I didn't have any on hand, so I just didn't do that, but adding wine to the sauce would be good too. It is like a rich, delicious, and what you're gonna do from there is you can kind of set it aside and then cook your pasta, but then you're gonna put the pasta directly into the sauce, and you don't have to serve it this way. I just do that because I find that when I serve this to other people, a lot of times the sauce will all get used up because it's so good that there isn't enough sauce ratio to the pasta that we have left over. So trust me, this recipe is more than enough to coat an entire box of pasta. This recipe actually feeds me and my husband twice. We will have it for dinner the first night, and then we both have an equal portion for lunch the next day. And it yields about 540-ish calories per serving if you split this into 4s. So, and that's with 1 pound of pasta. So basically you're having like 2 servings of pasta, because I feel like who actually eats 1 serving of pasta, okay? Also, the next day, this recipe is even better. So if you're eating lunch with it the next day, it's literally even better the next day. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Cozy Kale, and I will see you guys on Tuesday for another video. Bye.